I don't really have too much time to plug, but if you want to support this tournament, if you enjoy watching the North Americans and the Latin Americans and the Southeast Asians all play amongst themselves and duke it out, then consider supporting us on Patreon. !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon is designed to support not just this tournament, but also our other 2 tournaments that we do host: Sparkling Tuna Cup, Tenacious Turtle Tussle, and the Grand Platypus Open. All 3 are funded via Patreon, and our goal there is to not just fund the event, but also grow it, to boost the prize pool, to make it more consistent, and to help support the scene in general. So if you're interested, Patreon is where it's at. Oh. Patreon in the chat as we get into the grand finals, because spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player representing the Cranky Ducklings. What does he stand for? He stands for Endurance, Righteousness, Intellect, and Kangaroo. The F in Erik stands for Fear. It is Erik. Let's go. See in the chat, it was a knife fight, puppy. Aye. And as a reminder to everyone as well, this is a rematch. This is a rematch of the Tenacious Turtle Tussle #1 Grand Finals, where Erik was our first champion. He did bring down Trigger 3-1 in those finals, and I'm sure Trigger wants his revenge. I'm sure Trigger wants to overcome the might that is Erik. We'll see if he can pull it off. We shall see as we get as we do get a resubscription. Massive shout out to iScar in the chat. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Thank you so much for the support. Obrigado, papi. Obrigado. Oh, some support from the Brazilian scene. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Gracias. iScar is an ESL admin, you know, so do give him a bit of a shout out for a lot of the hard work that he does for the Open Cups and for the offline events as well. Much love, much appreciated. As someone is asking in the chat, are there vetoes? The answer is yes. Yes, there are vetoes, of course. And Erik is already going to be popping off. All right, so we do have a couple things happening right now, as we were a little bit distracted by what was happening in the chat, at least. We do see Trigger going to be going for a Twilight Council opener, so he's going to be very aggressive here with Glaive Adepts. I do appreciate this. I mentioned this last time we casted Erik, but I do think that if his opponent is aggressive, then Erik can sometimes struggle. I think Erik thrives when his opponent is standard. I think he's hoping for a Stargate opener, but we're getting something very different instead. Meanwhile, Erik delays Ling speed and he goes for Overlord speed first instead. Interesting choice. With this, he's going to be able to get a full scout of the main base. It is quite an expensive upgrade early on, but arguably worth it here if he wants to make sure he sees everything, and he will as he dips into the main base and gets eyes on the gas count and also on the Twilight Council. So if he does click on these gas geysers, then he should realize that this is going to be a Glaive Adept opener. We have 3 gates in the main. We have 1 gate here at the natural. 2 gates in the natural and 2 gates in the main. It is going to be a 4-gate Glaive Adept. So not the most committed build here, but aggressive nonetheless. Quite aggressive indeed, and Erik is fully aware of this. He should be throwing down a Roach Warren. There we go. Roach Warren is thrown down mere seconds before the 4-minute mark. Has droned up to 40 workers already. Is taking 3 of his gases. He's even rushing into a lair. This is a little bit greedy. Oh my god, Erik. He's getting everything. Erik, he's taking 3 gases. He's working into a lair, and he's getting a Baneling Nest and the Roach Warren. Quite a lot of tech, quite a big investment here. Thankfully, it is only 4-gate Glaive Adept, so maybe I think he can get away with it. But this is going to be eating into his overall supply here, as the Adepts are going to be threading a shade into the main, but we do have links to keep up. I was curious as to how he was able to afford all this, but Erik's third base is delayed. He did intentionally delay his third base by quite a bit. He even skipped out on some of the queens as well. Oh, as we're gonna have to force a cancel on this third. Up, up, up. Ooh. There we go. That is a cancel, not a kill. Now the queens are next on the chopping block, and they're gonna be going down one after the other. The adept count is just too high. But Erik, does he really care about his queens? Not really. Why? Because we have a drop lord being set up across the map. Oh my god, Overlord speed into the Dropper Lord play. The Adepts are going to be threatening that natural base. We have Banelings to defend back at home. This is actually how Erik defended against the Stargate Interglaives build. This could just be his answer to Glaives in general. Okay, so he's going to be able to deny all these shades, going to be able to keep up with as many of them as possible. And we have 2 Drop Lords being set up. One to go into the natural, the other to go into the main. At the same time, Erik is looking to try and distract these Adepts in the middle of the map. Does engage them with these roaches. Does force a shade. And his trigger looking. He's not looking! Oh no! Oh, the Baileys, they come in. They do annihilate the mineral line in the natural waste. At the same time, we have another drop going into the main. This time, Trigger should be paying attention, and he does pull away in time. A little bit mistimed in general here from Erik, because they didn't hit at the same time. Trigger was able to respond. But he did lose a lot of workers. And the drop can always come back in. Despite that, Trigger did transition. We have a Robotics Bay. We're still on 2 bases, bear that in mind. Again, I do love this from Trigger. He's intentionally going to be delaying his 3rd base, and I think that's a wise choice against Erik. Going to be keeping the aggression up. Trigger, he's getting in the mud with Erik. That's basically what's happening. Trigger sees how dirty Erik is, and Trigger, he takes off his shirt and he just jumps in. Oh, it's beautiful. As Trigger has stationed a couple of Stalkers here at his natural and 3rd base, ready to deny any kind of drop. At the same time, Banelings do not commit to the shade. Adepts don't commit to the shade. Banelings are all over the place looking to deny him. Trigger racing back home, and finally he's going to be looking to expand. It is quite a delayed 3rd, but at least he is working on it. Up! Oh, meanwhile, the Overlord has to be very careful. Only a couple hits away from going down. And from here, Erik is droning. He isn't just droning, he threw down a Spire. Now, was this scouted by the Adepts earlier? It looks like it was not. This is a bold move here. Oh, as the Overlord does go down in the end. Likewise, oh god, the 2nd Overlord almost goes down. These are expensive losses here from Erik. Does rock up, but the force fields are too good. A lot of roaches are going to be going down. Erik losing a little bit too much, and now he's on the back foot. Now Trigger's going for, or at least he's looking to hunt this down. Mutas are on the way, and they are going to do a lot of economic damage, but what about the main army? I do worry here that Erik won't have enough on the ground to defend against this push from Trigger if he does go for it. I am a little bit concerned. As the Mutas are on the way, they're being banked up back at home. Are they going to be used in the main fights? Mutas, they don't do too well in those, especially in low numbers. The roaches have been revealed. They're being dragged away by the Adept. At the same time, Trigger is moving forward through the center of the map. Banelings are going to be looking to try to connect. Mutas are out, and I believe Trigger was able to get an eye on them. There we go. Cannons are being thrown down back in the main base. Stalkers are in position at the 3rd. The Mutas aren't going to find any damage. Not here. And Erik is doubling down. He's going for a +1 air attack. I don't know how I feel about that. We're going mass muta. This is a really risky move, but we'll see if it does pay off. Gonna be trying to bypass the Colossi, the Immortals. Oh, he does come across a Prism. Up! And he does get the Prism in the end. Blink is done, bear that in mind, alongside +1. Trigger gonna try and keep up. Oh, the Colossus! Colossus does overextend. A little bit of mispathing. The Colossus is not going to go down. That was close, though. Meanwhile, I don't know if this is really the wisest move by Erik. He does try to go toe-to-toe with these stalkers, but the rest of the army is not too far behind. We come in with the jump! Wow, the Bailings do drop in. I love it. The Mutas, they kind of opened up a pathway for the Dropper Lord. 12 probes went down. Trigger's economy not looking too healthy right now. I love it. That one drop from earlier did come into play. It did pay for itself. Behind this, we have Burrow on the way. Still making more Mutas. We're just going pure Mutaling. Looking for a way in. Trigger still didn't throw down a Stargate. He's not going into Phoenixes. Oh, we do trade 2 Mutas for a Stalker. Not ideal. As we're looking to actually commit to a counterattack, Trigger is moving on out. He's confident in his Stalker count, and I am as well. That's a lot of Stalkers. Looking at the unit count, 32 Stalkers for Trigger. And Erik is going for a mass counterattack instead. He's going for the base trade. Let's go. Trigger is going to be getting on top of the 4th base. At the same time, the wall is not a wall. Erik is getting into the natural, into the main, and also hitting the 3rd base. We're going to have to recall. Trigger, he doesn't want to though. He wants to keep on pushing. He wants to commit to said base trade. Burrow does finish up in time as everything else is on fire. Every probe going down. We have a couple of Stalkers here in the main. We have a Disruptor as well, but the Mutas, they come in. They're going to be able to focus everything down. And Trigger, he has to make a choice. He's still committing. He does recall into the main. Is the Stalker count high enough? That's the question. Erik is trying to take the fight. I don't think he should. Ooh. A little bit of a misclick there as well, as the Mutas are going to be able to overwhelm all these Stalkers. Mutas are going down though. As do we have anything on the ground? We don't have a probe. It looks like Erik may win by elimination. Trigger, he's rushing back home. These are all the buildings that Trigger has left. He is down to 0 workers. He has no probes. He has no economy. He has no way to build anything else. He's going to try to push up this ramp, but because Trigger only recalled half his Stalkers, and he's still once again fighting with only half, he can't do this. He has to fight with everything. Oh, and Erik with a little bit of miscontrol. Trigger has not rebuilt his bases. Erik has a choice to make. He's going to try to fight them. He's going to try and fight the Stalkers. Roach is going to be buying some time. Erik, there are only 4 buildings left. Only 3. Only 2. We just have to focus them down. There's only 2 gateways. GG gets called, and Erik takes game number 1. GG. Just barely winning out on that base trade. Oh my god. Wow. Committing to the Mutas, opening up for the drop, going for the base trade. And Trigger, unfortunately, that recall did hurt him in the end. You know, he only recalled a portion of his Stalkers, and afterwards we saw once again he wasn't fighting with his full army, was getting picked apart. Bit by bit. And now we're going to be diving into game number 2. Oh. GG, well played. Erik does take a lead in this series, does take game 1. But we'll see if he can keep it up. We shall see, as we're going to be loading into game number 2. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk, currently down in the series but not out. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, going for the 15 hatchery, we have the Brazilian Zerg player representing the Cranky Ducklings. What does he stand for? He stands for Endurance, Righteousness, Intellect, and Kangaroo. It is Erik. The Kangaroo is the most important part. Let's go. Oh boy. And again, the last time they faced, Erik won in the finals of the Tenacious Turtle Tussle number 1, 3-1. He's looking to make a habit out of it. Meanwhile, Trigger wants his revenge. Trigger coming in as the underdog, question mark? On paper, I think that Trigger is the more well-rounded player. He is amazing at what he does. He is straight up one of the best Protoss in the world. Oh, sorry, in North America. He's up there alongside Estrella, alongside Neeb. But against Erik, it's a different story. Different story, Bobby. Here we go. We do have a gate expand set up here by Trigger. Erik going to be going for his 15 hatch into his 15 pool, into his eventual gas geyser. It's in the chat. Kangaroo God, Bobby. Oh, he's crazy. He's jumping all over the place. He's lost his mind. Oh, vámonos, Bobby. Vámonos. And we'll see what Trigger has in store for us in game 2. And I say Trigger because, again, initially he did open up with 4 Gate Glaive Adept. In game number 1, Erik was able to scout, he was able to confirm, he was able to respond so well, and the Baneling drops did honestly so much damage. The first one got, what, 13 kills, and the second one got 12. 25 probe kills in total is massive and nothing to scoff at. So Trigger may have to go for a bit of a different approach this time. Maybe a standard Stargate opening. This is not a bad map for that, but no, never mind. He is upset. He's going for a Robo opener instead. The aggression continues. This feels like a 2-base all-in. Before that happens, though, the Lings have arrived. The Adept still not done, by the way. The Pylon is under threat. Uh-oh. And this Pylon is going to go down. Oh, the Adept is mere seconds away from completing, but it looks like it does come out in time. Oh my god, 1 second off. This will be delaying Warp Gate. This will be delaying Trigger. Meanwhile, Erik this time isn't going for Overlord speed, hasn't gone into the main, which is pretty important. I do believe this is going to be for, what are we going to get, an Immortal or a Prism? One or the other, as Erik is cutting workers and he's going for a Ling Flood. Oh my god, he's waddling his queens across the map as well. We have a drone for the extractor, sorry, for the hatch trick. Let's go. He's looking to throw down the hatchery, cancel it, and throw down a creep tumor on top of it. Let's see if he can pull it off. Or just let it finish. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Just in time. The queens, they get in, they throw down their tumors. Meanwhile, the Lings are going for a surround. We do have a shield battery, thankfully, but not enough energy for an overcharge. There is not enough. He chronoed. The Lings are getting in. Oh, they get a full surround on the Stalker. The second Stalker goes down. This was a Robo into a Robotics Bay. This was into a Colossus Rush or a Disruptor. Pick your poison. But it looks like the natural base has been broken. Warp Gate does finish up in time, but the Lings are getting us up with the Immortal. And even if they don't get the Immortal, they're trading so well with these probes. Oh, the Immortal barely survives. We have the overcharge as well to keep everything alive. And this isn't enough damage. Erik is pretty all in. Like, he is down 10 workers. Things are looking good, but things need to look better. Up! Oh my god, the wall is still not a wall. The Lings are going to surround, and this time the Immortal will go down. Aye. We're still not in a good economic position, but the Zealot will fall as well. Lings edging on closer. The wall doesn't get completed, and we're diving on top of the shield battery. We're still only working with 1 gate. The Disruptor is on the way. These 2 queens, they're too thick. The Lings can't get in. They're going for the Cybercore anyway, I guess. And here we go. The Disruptor has arrived. The build has... Oh no! Oh. There wasn't enough room for the Purification Nova to come out. It's too narrow. The Cybercore will go down. And Erik is breaking into the natural again. He's still pretty goddamn committed. Still doesn't have the best economy behind this. So we have additional gateways being thrown down. The Cybercore in the main. Safely in the main. And it looks like Trigger should be able to hold on to his natural. We have more leagues coming though, Papi. We're not stopping. We're not stopping! The Nova! Nova does go off. Does clean up a good chunk of those lings, but we don't have enough engine for an overcharge. We have a second immortal. Oh my god, target firing is insane. Can he get the immortal? There's no way. There's no way! Queens are trying to target it down, but it looks like they will not get it in the end. And now Trigger can finally be on the offensive. But as all this has been happening, we have been spreading creep. Thankfully, we have an observer, so the observer will be able to clean a lot of this up. Can we get the zealot? We're trying, but we're trying. Behind this, we have the purification. We have the disruptor drop. The Nova doesn't connect. We do have plenty of splits going on. We have 4 gases being taken. We have our lair. Roaches are on the way. Erik doesn't want to let Trigger breathe. Doesn't want to let him get away with this. Doesn't have roach speed, but roaches are rushing across the map as we speak. Oh god, this is gonna be a close one though. The Nova! Oh, we'll be taking down that queen. Oh my god, and the second over as well. Oh, does connect with the roaches. Beautiful connections. And how good is the micro going to be? Can we save the immortal? It looks like we will. Trigger microing his heart out with that prism. We have an overcharge as well, but the lings, they flood into the main. Thankfully, there are zealots. The Nova goes off. Oh. Nicely done there. Does connect with mostly lings. Only lings, I think. Ooh. It's always risky whenever we Nova into a mineral line like that. But Erik is droning behind this. He's doing a mix of things. He's droning up a little bit. He's morphing in some Ravagers. Do have a double disruptor drop moving out though. Trigger has a lot of potential with this prism. This is still very close. First Nova goes off. Does get 1 Ravager. Meanwhile, Erik's still laying siege upon the natural base of Trigger. But Trigger's defenses are looking stronger. He's got a good Stalker count. Doesn't have Blink, but a good Stalker count nonetheless. 3 shield batteries, overcharge. Oh, it's going to be difficult to pull off here. Oh, so the Ravagers are trying to do what they can. Colossi is out. Trigger has a pretty terrifying army. Erik has to respect this. Oh my god, speaking of respect though, he eats the biles. Trigger wasn't quite paying attention, was maybe a little bit too focused on his War Prism control. Not a bad follow-up here by Erik as he's going for another massive counterattack. The Lings, they flood on forward. He's going to be losing some Ravagers, but the Lings do get into the natural and the main. These Lings won't be doing too much damage, but they're going to be buying Erik some time. Meanwhile, we still haven't seen a third base. The creep has been spread in those directions. 6 workers going down. Oh my god, there are so many roaches. Oh god! Do we have splits? No! Massive detonations. Massive Novas go off. Erik losing... Oh my god, what was that? Like 10 roaches in the blink of an eye. Definitely not something that Erik could afford. And now his army is looking that much smaller, that much weaker. Trigger pushing on through. Another Nova is going to be going off. Oh. And Trigger has a lot of momentum. He blinks on forward. Erik losing far too much. And I mean, Trigger is going to be looking to try to end the game. Looking at his tab, he's got 18 Blink Stalkers, Colossi, Immortal. Erik has been doing such a good job at containing his opponents, but it all comes down to this. It all comes down to one final push. Another Nova connects on the Ravagers. We have too many Stalkers. We have the Immortal as well. And Pure Roach just doesn't hold a candle against this army. Trigger has been able to finally break through. GG gets called, and Trigger ties up the series 1-1. GG. Those Purification Novas were insane. Even if it wasn't for those Novas, though, I do think that Trigger just had too too powerful of an army towards the end. Erik did run out of steam. And now we find ourselves in game number 3. We are tied up 1-1. We have a series. We have a series on our hands. Go, we're loading on in. Thankfully, Erik is Zerg. We almost loaded in as Erik as something else. It's all good. I see the chat catching up. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressfarm. We have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent going for the 12 pool. It's the Brazilian Zerg player representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Erik. Oh, I kept it short because it is going to be that 12 pool. We don't have a drone on the map yet, though. As oh no, never mind. We are loading into Gressfarm. Erik is going to be going for his patented 12 pool proxy hatch. It worked against Ranger. Will it work against Trigger? I imagine Trigger is going to be going for the Forge defense instead. I'm pretty sure we've seen that before, and we'll see it again. So we'll see how Erik is able to transition from here. We'll see how well Trigger can defend initially. Vámonos. Drone is moving on forward here. Trigger looking to go for his gate expand. Erik actually holding on. Moving out with his lings. Going to be delaying the hatchery overall here. Oh my god, and Trigger knows. Throws down the cyber core. Is going to be moving out with the probe scout. And as the probe moves out, which is spotted by this overlord, that's what Erik was waiting for. Imagine Erik is going to be looking to go in. Actually goes for his hatchery back at home. Interesting. Oh, we're going for the pylon. I thought we were going for the proxy hatch, but no, we're going for the pylon. We're still going for the proxy hatch. Pylon is going to go down. And is this just game? There's no units. There's no zealot. There's no adept. There is nothing here other than workers. And this could be over before it began. The drone drilling has to be perfect here from a Trigger. As Erik floods more lings across the map. Probes are falling left and right. Ugh. And this may just be how it ends. Yeah. The pylon is going to go down. It gets surrounded. There are not enough probes to fight this. GG gets called and Erik takes game number 3. Just like that. Wow. Oh my god. Cheeky moves here by Erik. Just delaying his, or just keeping his drone hidden, waiting for the probe to move out before he does pull the trigger and he does jump on top of that pylon. Wow. GG. Erik is one game away from becoming this week's champion. Oh boy. And how will it all end? What will our next game be on? Oh, game number 4 is going to be taking place on Ancient Cistern. Oh boy. I can't believe how that game went. Hopefully Trigger can hold on to his mental. That's my biggest concern here. I know Trigger can sometimes be a little bit emotional, and hopefully he can keep it all under wraps here as he gets into this game, as he tries to force the ace match. Fingers crossed, Papi. Fingers crossed. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ancient sister, and we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk, one game away from elimination. He needs to bring it back here and now. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent going for another 12 pool. We have the Brazilian Zerg player representing the Cranky Ducklings. He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. It is Erik. Hi. Oh my god. Erik, one game away. He's going for the drone once again. It's going across the map, Papi. It's going across. Trigger, this time, going for a probe scout. For those wondering, last game he didn't. Last game he delayed his probe scout by quite a bit instead. This time he will confirm the 12 pool, so now he knows to be safe back at home instead, as the hatchery is thrown down. Oh my god. Meanwhile, massive shout out to Pig in the chat, El Chanchito, papi. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session or cast. I think you were casting maybe the best games of the week. But thank you so much. Do appreciate it as we are here in the finals of the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. This is the best of 5 between Erik and Trigger, and Erik is one game away from becoming this week's champion. Meanwhile, Trigger is responding quite well to this. We have a forge being thrown down. The SimCity looking quite tidy here around that hatchery. Erik is going to be expanding behind this. Bear that in mind. Lings do get some nice surface area on at least the gateway. They're going to be able to take this down. But now that the forge is done, we can throw down some cannons. Boy, here we go. Second gate being thrown down just to fully wall off and make sure that there is no way into the natural as well. And Erik even brings some drones. He brings some drones, does intend to let this finish to throw down some of those spine crawlers. The pylon is being focused down as well. The cannon putting in a lot of work though. Oh, it's gonna be close. The pylon will fall. And eventually, the cannon will be able to chip away at this hatchery and bring it down. But before that happens, the spine crawlers will finish and, yeah, just be a nuisance, a thorn in Trigger's side. Trigger, though, trying to take the initiative, is going to move forward with this Zealot. Is going to force a cancel on this spine crawler. Up! Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. And Trigger is holding behind this. Erik going to be droning up at least a little bit. Still no gas geysers. Well, Broodlings do focus down at that Zealot. The Queen doesn't pop. There is no creep. This has been held. And yeah, maybe Erik overcommitting to this as well. Again, losing 2 spine crawlers is quite a lot of minerals here. Let's be careful not to lose an Overlord as well. Trigger gets away with his expand. And Erik has to back off. Oh boy. We have a game. This time Trigger survives. This time he does survive the 12 pool. Unlike what we've seen previously. Erik is going to be going into his gases. I am a little bit concerned about his lack of anti-air. Hopefully he's able to get his queens out in time, as Trigger is going to be going for that Oracle first. We will have at least 1 queen in each base, but honestly, Trigger may not care. He may not care. As things are going to be settling down. Trigger did have to commit quite a bit here to defend. You know, 2 shield batteries, 2nd pylon, a cannon as well, the forge. So in a way, there's like some inadvertent damage, but overall, I do think that Trigger is in a better position. He has the higher worker count. We're on equal bases. He's got his tech up as well. Could have been a lot worse. The game could have ended. As the Oracle is showing up, there are no spores ready for this. Again, only 1 queen, but the Oracle doesn't care about 1 queen. 5 drones go down, and Erik is kind of struggling to overcome this. Struggling to bounce back. That's kind of what I was going for. And with this, interesting. We have Overlord speed on the way alongside a lair as well. I'm very curious. This kind of reads like Dropper Lords, but we'll see as Alaris scouted. And once again, there is still no Spore. The double Oracle does dive into the natural. 3 more drones go down. Oh, did I say 3? I'm going to say 4. And then 5. 10 drones in total, and we haven't lost a single Oracle. Again, because of the openers, because of the opening, Erik just doesn't really have, or didn't have the queen count he needed, didn't have the economy, didn't have the spores. He's got a lot of catching up to do. Bane drops. Okay. You have my attention. Overlords are moving out across the map as we speak. Lings are moving out as well. And we are kind of set up for Dropper Lords, but before that happens, the triple Oracle dives in once again. We do finally lose one of them, but we can afford to lose an Oracle as we get another 6 workers, 16 in total. And we're not done. The Adepts have returned as well. Heading into the main base, more drones falling left and right. Erik's economy is crippled. But there are those drop lords that we were talking about. I assumed it was going to be for bailing drops for like harass, but no, we're going all in. We're going to be dropping the queens. They're going to be taxied across the map in a German style. Oh boy. And the Lings are not too far behind them. Oh, the Void Ray is checking! Oh my god, Trigger, he knows, Papi, he knows. He does come across the Dropper Lord. Will deny it. Erik has been learning over the course of this series. He knows his tricks. He knows how Erik plays. But Erik doesn't care. Bearing in mind that because we do have the lair, yep, we can drop creep. We can spread the creep as well backwards from across the map, which is what Erik will be doing. And he's also looking to try and break this third base. We have a lot of stack defense. We have 2 cannons, a shield battery, and sentries. Is it going to be enough? It looks like it will. Oh, the Banelings are having a hard time finding any damage at all. Takes down a cannon, takes down a shield battery. Or 2 shield batteries even. Not much else. The boys are being pulled. The Stalkers have arrived. We're pretty committed. There's no way out. And Erik is going to be losing too much. 4 queens, the Dropper Lord. GG gets called, and Trigger is forcing the ace match. GG. We're getting into game number 5. Really, the only way this should end. We're going to the ace match. Oh my god. And what map will game 5 take place on? We'll find out. I'm unaware about what the vetoes were. Unaware. I imagine altitude and near humanity. Yes, it looks like that is the case, as game 5 will take place on Babylon. Oh, here we go. It all comes down to this. The final game of the tournament. The final game of the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. Ay. Catching up. Catching up, catching up. But yeah, for those that are just tuning in now, if you want to help support this tournament and support these players, we do have a Matcherino page for this event as well. I will link it in the chat if you're interested. Oh, as we get into the grand finals. Well, as we get into the last game. This is it. It's over. Oh boy. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. It's the Red Protoss. He fights back in that last game, forcing the ace match. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player representing the Cranky Ducklings. He is one of our own. What does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. It is Erik. Oh, gonna be going for a 15 pool opener. 15 pool, 15 hatch, I imagine. Interesting, interesting. So this is going to be the first time he whips this out in this series. He has been going for some 15 hatch openers or some 12 pools, of course. But this is going to be a little bit more aggressive here. Trigger still hasn't gone into the main, still unawares about the opener. Until now, we'll get a full scout off. We'll confirm the pool first. Let's go. Meanwhile, across the map, we have a hatchery. It was technically a 15 pool, 15 hatch, technically. But the 15 hatch is across the map instead. A Trigger is forced to pull the boys, forced to pump out a Zealot as well. And Lings are going to be flooding across the map. The aggression doesn't stop from Erik. Now, it is unlikely that this hatchery will finish. This is just designed to delay the Nexus and force some lost mine time. Likewise, I imagine Trigger is going to be going for a pylon block here across the map as well, but that is what the Lings are for. There's that pylon, but the Lings arrive and they will force a cancel. Hatchery is thrown down, and now Erik can focus on his aggression, can focus on making sure that this hatchery isn't killed. Up, 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 up! Up! Oh my god. The last swipe of that Zealot doesn't connect, and Erik does cancel in time. And is going to be as annoying as possible. He's going to be trying to delay this Nexus, trying to get in the way of that probe. Almost buys enough time for the Lings, but alas, the Nexus does get thrown down. That was pretty close. That was a couple of seconds off. Meanwhile, this one Zealot can't fight alone, so we have to pull some boys as well. Again, a more lost mine time here for Trigger. Behind this, we're droning, we're expanding. Erik is attempting to transition. But Erik has to be careful not to lose too many Lings here. This is dangerous. The reason for this is because we're about to have a Zealot and 2 Adepts, and when we do move out across the map, there's not going to be much at home to defend as Erik goes for a second Gas Geyser. Oh my god. Okay. Erik, looking at the upgrades here, we could just be looking to rush into gas. Because of the opener, gases have been delayed, so we have a lot of catching up to do. I'm curious if we're going to skip Link Speed, though, and go straight into Roaches. As we do have that 100 gas, and we do not have Link Speed on the way. We could go into Lair as well. With Erik, it's sometimes unpredictable. It's sometimes hard to read what tech we're going to be going for, as we do have quite a lot of gas at this point. The Adepts are on the way. Has been revealed here to the Overlords, and Erik has to prepare back at home. He's got Lings in production, he's got his Queens coming to the front lines. Still no tech. It's possible that... Okay. I was going to say it's possible that Erik wants to try to deal with these Adepts first, and then throw down, you know, his Roach Warren or his Lair. But the Adepts do make it in, and the Lair is started. We can't delay for too long. The Adepts will be hunted down, but not before getting into the main base and getting a full scout. The Lair has been spotted. And this could be for a multitude of things. Logic states that this should be like for 2-way Spire, for Muta play. You know, we have a lot of gas to work with. This could also be something different, though. We have Overlord Speed in production. Oh, is Erik going to be able to hold on to this Overlord? I'm not too sure. This could be for Drop-a-Lord play. We have a lot of gas, but we don't have a Baneling Nest. Meanwhile, oh, the Overlord will go down. Supply blocking Erik. Quite brutal. There's that Baneling Nest. So it could still be Drop-a-Lords. Or just a Scout. Or both. We'll see. As it is a Stargate opener, the first Oracle is zooming across the map. We do have Queens in position. What we've seen in the past, Trigger sometimes doesn't care. Doesn't care about the Queens and does get one drone for his troubles. There it is. There's the Drop-a-Lord on the way. We're going to be making 16 Lings behind this. And it looks like we want to move out with everything. Oh boy. Now, what do we have at home to work with? We have a couple of Gateway units. We have the Stargate. Soon to be 2 Void Rays as well. Oh, we're going double Stargate Void Ray. No. We have a second Stargate on the way. The Oracle just trying to confirm what's going on. Does take down some of the gas mining drones. But we are going to have 4 Queens and Creep as well for Transfuse. So Erik is going to be looking to break this third. And I think he can. Oh, he goes for the Overlord. Oh, and he will get the Overlord. A very important pick off there by Trigger that will be denying creep. There we go. We should be seeing more Overlords being sent out across the map. Without the creep, we can't transfuse. Oh, but we may not need to. There is that overcharge. The Queens are pushing on forward. The Banelings will connect with the shield battery. But again, we can't use the energy, and the Queens are falling left and right. Everything would have changed here if we had that creep, if we had that Overlord. It wasn't in position, or it was sniped. Erik going to be going for some Bane drops into the natural. Trigger, is he looking? Up! He's not looking! Oh my god. A mineral line goes down. Erik is fighting back. He may have lost all of his Queens, but he's still fighting. Has some links here in the natural base. We're moving up to 3-4 Void Rays. Erik not finding too much damage here at the third, though. Again, we just needed some transfuse, Bobby. We just needed that creep. And these Void Rays may end the game. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. We have 4 Queens here in between our bases. We do have enough to contend against these Void Rays as Trigger continues Void Ray production. Oh boy. Feels bad, man. +1 air attack is on the way as well. These Lings will confirm that as we do head towards the natural. Void Rays trying to lay siege upon this third base, but no, the Queens are in position. And Erik's response to this is going to be Hydras. He's going to be going for a Hydra timing. As you can see, Erik's worker count is very low, insanely low. He's going to be pretty committed, pretty all in. Boy. We're even working towards a 3rd Stargate. Oh god. We have the 3rd Stargate on the way. More Void Rays. Because that's all we need, Papi. That's all we need. We are up to 5, soon to be 7 Void Rays. Oh boy. No Fleet Beacon. Bear that in mind. It's just pure Void Ray. That's all we need. Erik is going to be trying to go for a bit of a counterattack, but again, the defensive position here is too damn good. We have cannons, shield batteries, sentries for force fields as well. The Lings will not find a way in. And that Hydra count doesn't seem too threatening either. We only have 8 Hydras. We have 1 Hydra for each Void Ray. That's not ideal. As we were just a little bit supply blocked, and Trigger is looking for some map control. He's looking to try and find his way into his main. Into Erik's main, even. Queen's going to be holding on to the 3rd base. Lings do get an eye on the 4th base at least, and they're going to be trying to cancel it, trying to deny it. But the SimCity's too good. Lings can't really push in. Can't really contest against it. As the Hydras have been revealed, it looks like they're going to be able to get 1 Void Ray. Not bad. Oh, even maybe a 2nd. Okay. Be careful about that rally. There we go. Flux Fades is on the way. Mass Void Ray, Buffy. Mass Void Ray. And without Vipers, Mass Void Ray is scary. It can be terrifying. It can do a lot of damage. We'll see if Erik can hit this time, and we'll see if it's going to be enough here as the army has been spotted. Trigger is aware. He's throwing down shield batteries, cannons, everything he can at the 4th base. But it's not going to be done in time. The Baneling's going to be able to zone away the ground army. Trigger gives up on his 4th. I appreciate this. Erik is going to be holding onto those Banelings, waiting a little bit longer. 4th base will go down. But Tempests are now on the way. Up! Oh, we do see a stage trap going off as well. The force fields are a little bit too good as well. The Banelings are really struggling to push on forward. And it looks like we don't have enough Hydras. Erik has to back off. Behind this, we have a 4th base. Erik has been droning, at least saturating his 3rd, as best he can. He has an economy to speak of. But Tempests are kind of the checkmate here. Without Corruptors, without Vipers, Tempests, they can pick away at this army without too much concern for anything. Oh, they one-shot Painlings. Upon seeing the Tempest, we throw down the Infestation Pit. We are going to be working towards Hive. Erik is forced to drone. I think Erik has recognized that he cannot break the third. He can fight for the fourth. He can keep denying the fourth base, and it looks like he's rotating over towards the top right-hand corner. Towards the would-be fourth. Turtle gets revealed. It's exposed. Oh, as the Lings do show up in time, and they are going to be containing Trigger here to 3 bases, but the reality is that a 3-basing Protoss can still max out on Sky Toss. We already have so many Tempests. And interestingly enough, Erik is not going to a Hive. He's going to be going for Infestors. He's going for Microbial Shroud. Okay. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. Microbial Shroud, of course, will help against all things Sky Toss. Doesn't work too well against Storm. Thankfully, there is no Storm. We're going for Disruptors instead. So Trigger going to be going for a different form of splash damage. Looking at Units tab, we already have 1 Disruptor with our army. 1 Disruptor in the main even. About to be 2. They're actually stuck. They actually can't get out. There we go. Cannon will go down, and finally, the Disruptors are set free. Honestly, it would have been disastrous if they were stuck in the main base, and if Trigger didn't notice, because Erik is about to lay siege upon the 4th base. Very committed with this push. Stace Trap goes off. The Banelings don't find their connections. Nova's go off as well, and we get a massive connection on the Hydras. Where are the Infestors? That's what I want to know. We have 5 Infestors on the way and a Spire. Trigger is getting into the late game, getting into his Sky Toss in a much easier way, and unfortunately, because of Erik's aggressive tendencies, he's not ready for this. He doesn't have a good worker count, he doesn't have a good base count, his tech is lacking as well. He never intended for the game to go on this long. And Trigger is just turtling up, and now that he has his 4th base, he is set up to max out. Trigger is soon to max, can move out across the map, and I don't know how Erik defends. Erik, okay, he defends by somehow killing all the Disruptors. Somehow the Disruptors die, and then he Microbial Shrouds and he goes toe-to-toe with the Sky Toss. If that happens, then sure, he can fight, but the Disruptors do pose a massive threat to his army, though. Even if they don't get detonations, if they just zone away the Hydras and push them off of the Microbial Shroud, like that's enough. That's enough for the Sky Toss to just overwhelm the Hydras with their DPS. So we shall see, as Erik is again trying to take more bases. He's got a Hive on the way. Spire is done. Still don't have the best economy though. And Trigger is looking to punish the bases of Erik. This hatchery, can we cancel in time? Up, up, up. Oh, we do. Oh no. Did he get the cancel in the end? Erik has to rotate on over, try to hold on to his bases. Meanwhile, Trigger has reached that 200 supply. 7 carriers, 6 Tempests, and 7 Void Rays. We have a nice fungal though. Oh my god. The carrier count is being reset. Very nice pickoff here from Erik, fighting half the army on its own, or a quarter of the army on its own. Very good start for Erik. That's the other way that he can win this. If somehow Trigger fights with a segmented army, somehow force apart, then Erik can take this. But Trigger, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to consolidate everything together, go for the death ball. Storm on the way. Not feeling too confident about pushing out though. Oh, the Banelings. As the Banelings have been scouted and Trigger is looking to deny them. Oh boy, we're back to 2021. I thought we were done with this. I thought it was over. No. No, SkyToss is never really gone. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. These Lings have been doing quite well for themselves, though. This is going to be the second time they force a cancel on that fifth base. Meanwhile, Erik is maxed. He knows that he has to get rid of some of these Hydras, so he is going to be going for a bit of a run by. Oh, he's going for this. He's going for the Nexus. He will deny that recall. Nexus goes down. Cannons and shield batteries as well, but he has to get out of here because the army is coming. He doesn't want to lose too much too quickly. Hydra's getting picked off one after the other. Storm is done. High Templar are going to be threatening the army. Here come these Infestors. We get the Fungal. Oh, we get one Fungal for the cost of 2 Infestors. And Trigger isn't done. He wants to keep on pushing. A massive Nova goes off on the Hydras. Oh, and do we have another Storm? Looks like we will in a couple of seconds. But no Storm for now. Here we are. Never mind, I misspoke. There are plenty of Storms. We have a couple of Fungals being thrown down, but it looks like there are just too many carriers. The carrier count is insane. It's out of control. 11 carriers is enough to fight everything, to take on all the queens, all the corruptors. GG gets called, and Trigger gets his revenge. In our first edition of this tournament, Erik was our champion over Trigger, but this time Trigger pulls it back, and he is this week's Tenacious Turtle Tussle champion. GG, well played. Oh my god, he was on the brink, mate. Erik was up 2-1, and Trigger was able to take 2 games in a row, bring it all back. GG. GG, well played. Oh. Aye. That was intense. Not gonna lie, that was quite intense. But congratulations to Trigger for becoming this week's champion. My condolences to Erik, as Erik fought quite hard here in the finals. Almost was able to pull it off, but wasn't able to in the end. Again, it brings me back to the Queen push. If you recall, the foresight of Trigger to focus down that Overlord, to make sure that there was no creep, to make sure that there were no transfuses with the Ling Queen push, was so smart. And that really made that push fall in its face, and Erik was kind of behind from the onset. He was having a really hard time transitioning. Oh boy. But he did try to fight back, and he almost did. Of course, Trigger did fall back and rely upon SkyToss, which I think is a wise choice against Erik. I think being defensive against him it can work wonders, as opposed to being aggressive. And yeah, congratulations to our Canadian Protoss player. My condolences to Erik, but again, we can't win them all, and he's already got 1 championship under his belt. He can't be too greedy. Has to let some others earn some money, and yeah, GG, well played. I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed the series as well. I know the majority of you did come in mid-series in the finals, but I highly recommend checking out some of the other games that were casted. It was a great tournament, and great matches were had. So yeah, do recommend. If you're tuning in now, and if you're unfamiliar with the Cranky Ducklings, we cast every single day, multiple times a day. We are a casting team here. We're a casting team, and we cover a lot of StarCraft events. We actually casted 3 tournaments yesterday. Our weekends are usually really busy. We casted World Team League last night, alongside KSL, alongside the Rice Cup as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed our casting, and if you want to follow us, and if you want to tune into more, then !socials in the chat, or follow us on Twitch. We have social media all over the place. We have Twitter, Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a YouTube channel where we upload on a daily basis, and we also have a Discord server where you can interact with us outside of the stream. So with the Cranky Ducklings, we're all over the place. I've even casted alongside Pig before, some major events. I'm from Australia as well. I'm Aussie. I don't sound it. I don't have quite as an accent as some of the other Aussie casters, but I'm here. Hey. So yeah, if you're interested, do follow us. We also have a pro team. Erik, he does represent us. He is playing in ESL Masters America in that premier tournament. So best of luck to him. And if you also want to support this tournament, not just the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, but also Grand Platypus Open and the Sparkling Tuna Cup, we host 3 different events throughout the week, and they are kind of targeted towards some of these smaller regions. For example, this event here is region locked to North America, Latin America, and Asia. It excludes South Korea and Europe. So it's kind of our way to help support some of these smaller regions. Same with Grand Platypus Open. As you can tell by the name, it is region locked to Southeast Asia and Oceania as well. So we're doing our best, we're doing what we can. We do appreciate what KSL has done for the Korean scene, and we're trying to do the same for some of these other smaller regions as well that also deserve our support. They were also impacted by some of the other changes that did happen when it comes to DreamHack and when it comes to the overall finals, the World Finals. So we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can for the region, for the scene. And if you're interested, Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. We have a Patreon page set up to support all these tournaments, to grow them. You can see it just underneath me. Currently, we have reached, you know, a decent chunk of that goal to fully fund our events, and our goal is to not just fully fund our events, but to make them weeklies and to also grow the prize pool as well. That's what we're trying to do, I should say. Also, massive shout out to Blakerdoos and Gamer Gaz in the chat for the bits. Thank you, Papi, thank you. We do appreciate it. All the money that we make here, it does go towards our tournaments, as we do fund them ourselves. Again, at least until Patreon does kick in, and hopefully, again, we can grow that. That is kind of our goal here for the year. Last year, we were focusing on building up our pro team. If you're watching World Team League, then we were a part of that. We had our NA roster with Vindicta, with Patty Mac, with Erik, with Oreo, Starduck, and Dolan as well. But this year, we've kind of scaled back our pro roster, and we're focusing a lot more on tournaments instead, on casting. Tis our goal. Tis our goal. Thank you so much. Massive shout out to Tater Tutor in the chat for gifting a sub to BP Sun. Thank you, Puppy. Thank you. We do appreciate it. Do always appreciate it. Gracias. See, the chat's getting rowdy, Puppy. It's getting rowdy. Yeah, thank you for the subscription. I hope you enjoy that sub. Hope you enjoy the emotes. Hope you enjoy the replay packs. I should also say that as well. Patrons and subscribers do get replay packs from all the tournaments that we cast that we have permission to share with, which is quite a lot, to be honest. We do have quite a lot of replays to offer if you're interested in that sort of thing. Otherwise, you know, we have some lovely, cute emotes in the chat as well, which you can take advantage of. Oh, GG, well played. So yeah, with that, usually I'd be going live right now with ESL Open Cup Asia, but ESL Open Cup Asia was moved from Sundays to Mondays. It is no longer on Sundays, so I get to sleep. I was casting until 3 a.m. last night, until 3 a.m. And we were casting World Team League, and I had to wake up at 7 a.m. for this tournament, and I can finally sleep. I don't have to cast ESL Asia, but we have another cast tonight. If you're interested, in less than 12 hours, in, I want to say, 10 hours. 10 hours from now, we're going to be live with World Team League Day 3. Day number 3. I'm going to be casting alongside Asherbur, another lovely Australian caster. And yeah, we're going to be covering some amazing games. Let me just double check here. What do we have? What do we have for you tonight? World Team League Summer. We are going to be casting Invictus Gaming versus Dragon Kaizi Gaming. So that's players like Hero, Oliveira, and Dark. And we're also going to be casting Platinum Heroes versus Psystorm Gaming. Special Geralt and Max packs going up against DNS, Goblin, and Shadown. Oh boy, so plenty of matches ahead of us. Again, that's going to be in 10 hours. I get to nap. It's going to be beautiful. I say that. I'm going to stay up and I have a lot of VODs to edit. We have a lot of VODs to edit for YouTube, so I'm going to be doing that. Then, of course, resting before WTL. So, yeah, I do hope you all enjoyed the tournament. Hope you consider supporting the tournament as well. You know, we do what we can. We do what we can. Exclamation mark. Socials. We do what we can for the scene, for the region. And, yeah, we've been around for a while. We've been casting for years now. I think we started casting full-time around 2019, 2018, so it's been a couple of years, and yeah, thank you so much, Pig, for the raid as well. We really do appreciate it. We do appreciate the support. Whatever support we get, thank you. Thank you. Also, if you want some more casting, our next broadcast after WTL tonight is going to be tomorrow. Is going to be ESL Open Cup Asia. I was just talking about it. Was moved to Mondays, and then the day after that is going to be ESL Open Cup America. So day after day, plenty of StarCraft ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Massive shout out to Trigger and Erik as well, our 2 finalists. They do walk away with some of that cash money, and we'll see you guys in 10 hours. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.